Welcome to Rescue Chat Unfiltered. I'm Denise Angus, founder of Mattie's Place Rescue, and now the Rescue Chat Unfiltered podcast. I'm here to bring you forward, insightful conversations about hot topics in the rescue community. Are you ready? Let's get the Rescue Chat started unfiltered. So, welcome to episode 3. Thank you for being here. Let's just take a second and introduce who's sharing the opinions and who you are. Let's begin with the guest of honor.
I'm Kelly. I'm the founder of Lost Boys.
I'm Hillary, and I'm with Project Paws Dog Rescue.
And my name is Denise Angus, and I'm the founder of Mattie's Place, and now this awesome podcast, as I said in the last episode too. So thanks, Kelly, for being here. I think that you are a really interesting person to speak to.
Oh, thank you.
You've been around for a while. You've seen a lot. You have a very specific niche of northern dogs. So let's start there. Why are you focusing on rescuing northern dogs?
Well, it's not all northern dogs. We do take a small percentage of local surrenders. Most of our dogs are northern. That's where my passion is. That's where all of my dogs are from. That's where I started from. That's just what I know. That's my lane. So that's where I kind of sort of stick to.
Okay, and what do we need to know about northern dogs aside from them being so magical? But what is it about northern dogs that you're drawn to?
I think it's mostly just the life that they lead, the troubles that they have, and the struggles that they have to overcome, and the things that they go through in general, just from puppy to adult age. They don't live very long, so we try to get them as soon as possible. They're just great, fantastic, grateful dogs from the second they come in to the moment that they go off to their adopted homes.
And what communities are you supporting in the north?
I support anybody really that needs help, but most of the time we do Manitoba. So I don't have a specific communities that we work with. We do Manitoba, we do Ontario, we do Quebec, we do Nunavut now as well. We work with a lot of frontline rescues who have specific communities that they pull from: Sandy Lake, Sandy Bay, Red Lake, all different kinds. I couldn't name them all.
And you also have done or still do, or where are you at with your northern dogs?
I mean, I was pulling a lot from Attawapiskat on my own. I would just, fly them down to Timmins, and from Timmins we would get transport down to Barrie. I haven't taken any in a while. And I'm not sure when I will again. So
Yeah. And I used to do a lot of northern dogs. I think was it 2023? I think during COVID. Was that COVID?
it was before, I think. Or no, after.
2023.
And during. Yep.
I had one solid year of doing northern dogs, Ontario and Manitoba. Came to love these dogs immensely. There's something so magical and wonderful and amazing about a northern dog. I think it's just in their DNA. It's generations deep, and it's the way that they're raised in the communities as community dogs, a lot of them. There was a time when it was really hard to get northern dogs because it was very gate kept. And I stopped supporting the north. One, because we have just such a crazy overpopulation right here. So my focus is Ontario dogs and Quebec. I stopped supporting northern dogs because it just flooded open. And everybody was getting northern dogs. And anybody that wanted a dog could get any rescue, could get a northern dog. There were unethical practices happening. There were unethical rescues being given carloads full of dogs. It absolutely was horrendous and out of control. And I ended up just saying, I can't be associated with this because there's so much unethical practice happening. And the days of really holding northern dogs sacred just disappeared. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it's just because, I mean, I'm sure the communities are still not under control. When we were doing like James Bay communities, I know there were a couple of communities that between spay and neuter initiatives and getting the dogs out, um, the population dwindled. Like it was really
There you go.
controlled.
Mhm.
I don't know where that's at now.
That
But what are
probably
your
changed.
thoughts on that, Kelly? Like, just, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it. I don't know who you work with in the north, but like, is there frustration with who's getting northern dogs and what's happening with that initiative now?
I mean, there is, and there has been. I know the first episode you mentioned the issue with Four Lucky Paws and how they, um, how th- how that all happened. That to me was purely greed because it was easy.
So for just to so that we can give some context, so Four Lucky Paws was a rescue in Peterborough.
Yeah.
They were bringing in hundreds of puppies. At
At a
one point, there was a group of parvo puppies, obviously, that came in. Caitlin, the founder of Four Lucky Paws, she was keeping the puppies in her garage. And when she had a parvo outbreak in her garage,
Mhm.
and puppies were dying, she wasn't getting the medical treatment, and they were then moved to fosters who they suffered unthinkable deaths. Puppies ended up being piled in freezers. I think total 54 puppies died. I actually had them cremated after the end of the court. I have them at home waiting to do something. I don't know what with them, giving them back somewhere. But she was charged. She was convicted,
As well as her
as
partner.
well as her partner. Partner being one of the fosters
Awesome.
that was connected. $50,000 fine. A ban on
But
owning
her
dogs
her
beyond
her
that.
behavior, the partner's behavior was a lot deeper than just having them in her bathroom. Being part of the transport network that we do see these dogs when they're coming down. We see the chain of events that's happening, and she was deeply involved in transportation and having them down here and not doing it safely.
Right.
As well as, the rescue in Manitoba who was sending them the dogs. As far as I'm concerned, they should be held responsible to see.
Yeah, it was always weird
You
to
know
me
what's
that,
happening when you're sending dogs down here.
yeah,
They had to have known that Caitlin had, 54 parvo dogs in her garage. There's no way that they are oblivious to what's.
but they weren't all at one time. So she
No, I know,
continued to
but it's a
bring
continued
parvo puppies.
conversation, right,
Yeah,
with your initial.
she was bringing parvo puppies in. They would
Yeah.
die. They would go to the freezer. More puppies would come in. They would die. They would go to the freezer. And it was just
Yeah.
continuous. And it just fell apart. And, finally enough people spoke up. I think Danielle Roberts led that charge. And
And I'll be honest, I was the initial factor to get Caitlin into Manitoba. Caitlin messaged me to mentor, and I said, absolutely, come with me on a trip there. She came with me to northern Manitoba. We did a clinic there, and then she just kind of went rogue. So she didn't get my expertise. She didn't get my experience. She didn't get my transport protocols or anything. So she didn't know anything about the North. And then she decided that she was just going to take this on and bring hundreds of dogs in by herself without having any experience doing it at all, or having a mentor to assist her into doing that. So, I mean, I know even from my starting, I got a lot of really crappy advice from people that were in rescue who said to do this and do that. And, you learn from your experience. She didn't learn from her mistakes. She just continued to bring them in and haul them in as if they were, you know, candy for kids and stuff. So, um,
so where did the disconnect happen from the supply chain, if you will, from the communities to, to getting to her? How come nobody saw what was happening in the middle?
everybody saw. I think everybody saw. I just think everybody didn't see the end result of it. I mean, when you're coming down on transport and you're messaging a group of rescues to say, does anybody have parvo kits? You know what's happening on that truck. you know exactly that those
What
dogs are
was the
sick.
response when she asked? Did anybody
I
say,
don't
"Hey,
think
do you
anybody
think?"
responded. I mean, I carry parvo kits with me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm very responsible transporter. I don't take risks. I don't do anything, but I carry them just in case because you never know. I mean, even by that point, testing them on the truck is pointless because now everybody is pretty much contaminated. Um, but I mean, you know what you're getting into when you're asking for parvo kits mid transport. Like that was just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, it was horrendous. I'm glad that she was charged.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
think and convicted. I don't think enough has been said about it or spoken about it. I think there are more rescues that
Mhm.
charges need to be laid. I think, that's a whole other topic,
Yep.
but I can at least say that I'm thankful that that chapter ended and yeah, it was horrific. I sat through the court. I think you did too
Yeah, I watched
online,
it. Mhm.
the videos and the testimony, and
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking.
As someone who's had, 13 parvo puppies at once, it's not something that you take lightly. I mean, I had 13. It cost us $30,000 to get these dogs treated in hospital. We lost one of them in clinic. But to sit in your kitchen or your living room and know that there are puppies in your bathroom that are suffering like that. And I mean, if anybody has held a parvo puppy, I have while it's dying. It's not a quiet experience. It's not a pleasant experience. So, I mean, it should have definitely been a heavier consequence for both of the girls, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
and the rescue that was sending them because they knew.
Yeah, and nothing was ever
Mm.
there was no accountability there, which
Mm.
was always surprising to me. So why have the floodgates opened from the north and why are these organizations? Because there are, for those that don't know, there are communities and then there are a few organizations that are sort of pipelines from the reservations and the northern communities that filter these dogs out into various rescues. A lot of times, I think, Kelly, you deal with communities directly. Some of us have dealt
Yeah.
directly with communities, but for the vast majority, it gets pipelined through. So why have the floodgates opened to just take all the dogs, take 100 dogs on a van, go to Southern Ontario, stick them in your car, just get them out of Dodge? What's happened?
I think what happened is COVID. And a lot of the communities blocked the rescuers from going in and taking the dogs that they would normally take out. So all of those dogs had puppies, and those puppies had puppies, and the population just exploded. Like you said, James Bay had zero population in stray dogs, and now they're back up there doing clinics again because one person brought one female in, and then it was game over from there. Um, it's it's easy access now because, like you said, they have those networks that bring them down for you. When I first started, it was like you said, you couldn't get northern dogs. You had rescues fighting for puppies. You couldn't get them down unless you transported up there to come and drive them down, 30 hours yourself. And now it's made so easy for them to get the dogs down here and for them to get into to rescues that's what's happening is and there's so many. I'm turning down puppies where before, like I said, people were fighting
Yeah.
for them,
Yeah.
like viciously fighting for them.
So help people to understand, because you know probably better than most, what the life is for a northern dog from, birth in and not all communities are created equal.
Yeah.
But, let's dig into some of the more challenging communities where they're doing culls. And yes, dog culls happen in Canada. So talk about culls and talk about sort of what happens to a dog. It's born in a community without an owner, and what does its life look like?
Generally looks, like a mom who generally has a mange or parasites, super, super skinny mom, very, very pregnant, will have a litter of puppies under a shed, under a deck, someplace in the dump, in a garbage pile or something, someplace where they feel safe enough to do it. If they survive that initial housing issue, um, they have to then, parvo is everywhere up there. I'm very particular what communities I take from because I know that it's worse in other communities than it is now. So that they have to have a skinny mom who is not healthy enough to feed them. Chances are, 6 or 7 die, so there's 2 or 3 left. Depending on what season they have the puppies in, they might have them in the freezing cold. They're having them now. They're freezing to death. They're just like little popsicles. If they have them in the spring, they're fighting with lice, fleas, ticks. We're seeing lots of the moms come down now with just one puppy. They're having more than one puppy up there. Um, if they make it that far, then they have the parvo and the distemper issues. Other dogs killing them. They have the wolves, the bears. All of those things are also an issue for the puppies and the moms. So generally when we see a mom come down, she's got some pretty traumatic issues because they've had litters, they've been attacked by the pack, they've had to protect their offspring. It's not a great, like you said, but some communities take care of the strays. Some of them are worse than others.
Yeah. And, when it comes to calls, and we're seeing it more often, where it used to be very hush hush, and now, chief and council are sending letters out, and those letters are rescues are posting them and sharing them. So talk about dog calls. I mean, I understand that it's so hard to know that that happens, but I also understand communities and children, and you have too many dogs in small communities, and they overtake the streets, and they're hungry, and they're in heat, and they're fighting over food and fighting to mate, and children are getting hurt.
Adults even.
And adults for sure. And a lot of them people are scared to leave their homes because you have packs of dogs running through communities. Calls have to happen. What do you know about them, and how does that all play out? And
Well, I mean, it's a population control method. Is it effective? Clearly not. If it was, they wouldn't have dog issues. A lot of the times that we see the cullings happen, we get dogs that have been missed or injured. We get a lot of dogs with old bullet injuries. I think it's a responsibility for chief and council to protect the community, but I also think it's a responsibility for them to do it correctly and humanely, not only just for the dogs, but for the kids that are seeing it and the families that come home and see their dogs that are wearing collars, shot at the dump. And I've stopped doing spay and neuter or spay and returns because bringing them down south, we're spaying them, we're returning them, and then the families are finding them in the dump shot. It's a waste of our resources. And
the rule is, if it's a collared dog, it's an owned dog, and it's not to be culled, it's not to be removed, it's an owned dog. And it's hands off. So, but
generally,
yeah.
we find a lot of the nurses and construction workers will put collars on some of the strays to pull them out, just to protect them. They started, I know that Flights for Hope started an orange collar project where they were sending orange collars up, don't shoot collars. I mean, same as you, I understand why they do it. I understand that they have to do it, but I think that there's better ways to handle the situation. We jump as fast as we can, but we can't save them all.
Yeah, for sure. So how do we change the dog overpopulation in these communities? How do you feel what change has to happen?
I think we need government started spay and neuters. I think we need government funded veterinaries. I think we need bylaws in the communities. We need infrastructure where they can hold the dogs. We need people trained, dog handlers who can take care of the dogs while they're there. Having a dog pound is one thing, but having people who know how to take care of them is another. They need bylaw people who are trained and can enforce the bylaw. They need no dogs brought in. They need rules. They need structure. They need people to help them. They need people to help them and not tell them how to do it. They need to assist, but show them I think that's part of the biggest issue is that they don't want people to come in and tell them what to do. They want the help, but they don't want to be told how to do it.
And that's understandable,
Hmm.
given the communities and history and all of the things. But it is a problem, and it's a problem that's not being resolved, and the things that are happening now. And rescues pulling dogs out isn't changing anything
No.
either. Like, isn't the answer. Nothing that we're doing is the answer.
You need
So
a combination of everything that we're doing to sort out what's happening up north.
Yeah.
And more.
and much more. And the government does need to step in,
They do.
Mr. Mark Carney. Recently, so I want to talk to you about your transport protocols.
Mhm.
It's a little alarming to see. I'm not saying your protocols because I don't know them,
Mhm.
but there are just vans and buses and trailers full of dogs
Mhm.
coming up from the north right now. Recently, two rescues that I know of, and I don't know the whole story. Maybe you guys know more. I know there are two rescues that brought dogs in that came in with distemper. Um, Distemper is a highly contagious disease. It's a death sentence. So let's talk about transport protocols. And I know one of the rescues, I spoke to them briefly, and I did say to her, look, let's jump on a call and talk about protocols because you're a newer rescue, and
Yep.
like, let's put some stuff in place. And in fairness, I've not had a chance to have that call, but maybe, I can send
I've had
this
that
to
call.
her. Oh, did you? Good, I'm glad.
I know who you're talking about.
It was on my to-do list,
Mhm.
and I will circle back to them. But for any rescue that's looking at bringing northern dogs in, what are some protocols that should be in place? Because I also think that the protocols are getting really lax,
Not in my
and
world.
maybe not yours,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of organizations bringing dogs down.
Yeah.
And so what do we need to put in place, and what should it look like?
Um, my protocols are really strict, and I'll be honest, a lot of my protocols I put forth to my frontline rescuers as well. And I've said to them, if you're not going to do tarps on the ground, no feet on ground, no PPE, we're not using it as a transport. Like I said to you on the way down, is it really, really scares me when other people do my transports because nobody has the protocols that I have. If I'm setting up my van to go, all of my dogs are at one end, other rescues are at another end. We do them, Happy's Place has their section, um, the Project Paws has their section, and Lost Boys is at the other end. Um, if there's anybody who is younger who doesn't have vaccine, they're not even near. And I'm fortunate enough to have a massive van, so I'm able to do that.
You have
Uh,
a Lost Boys Hope van?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, a huge van. So I can fit probably 50 or 60 kennels in it, so I'm able to separate them. If by chance, God forbid, we're on the road and a dog is coughing, which I never do. If a dog shows any coughing, sneezing, diarrhea, vomiting, any of the slightest things, it doesn't get on my truck. But things happen. If we hear a cough or whatever, we instantly cover it with a sheet. The dog is then sort of segregated off to its own spot. We use PPEs. We're gowned up. We have gloves if we stop during the transport on our walk water feeds. We have individual person assigned to each litter in pens on tarps. That person is not allowed to touch any other dog. So they're segregated to that pen of puppies, and that's that. Um, we have them change gloves in between. They're touching puppies. We change them out. My truck is tarped, the whole thing, so we do it the whole way. Even from the second that we get to my office, my volunteers are there in PPE. They're wearing gloves. They're wearing smocks. They know in between they change every time they get into my office, which has never had parvo, but we tarp the ground. They're put into fresh kennels. Nobody is allowed to come into that building. Nobody is allowed to touch those dogs unless you are that person's foster or you're doing intake.
Right.
So we're very strict, and I have relayed all of that to any driver who has the droven, is that a word?
Driven.
Drove,
It
driven.
can be for now.
Whatever.
It can be. Driven any of my dogs down. I don't risk it. I don't. And thank God, like, I haven't had parvo in, well, we had one last year, but they sort of came with it. But like 3-4 years now, like, no, knock on.
Yeah.
But I'm so paranoid about getting any sort of illness, transferring it to the public. Even the clothes that I wear on transport, I go home, I immediately take off, and it is put into the wash. Sheets and blankets are thrown away. We don't reuse them. Even our kennels that we use on those trucks are then put into quarantine for the 3-week period. And nobody's allowed to use them. They go into a separate area and they're quarantined.
It's awesome. And are you doing drive? Like, are you still driving to
I
Manitoba?
still drive. I just went between Christmas and New Year's. We just went and did a big haul back.
Good for you. I used to do them. You and I did a few. I was too old. I just can't. That will
don't mind
suck
it.
the
I don't
life
mind
out
it.
of you, that drive.
I don't mind them. I'm pretty old too, but my daughter is now stepping up, second generation rescuer, so she's a great help. She knows more than a lot of the adults that we deal with. So
It's awesome.
Yeah.
How have you seen change sort of when you started? How long have you been around now?
this is my 10th year.
10 year?
Mhm.
So 10 years ago, and then sort of fast track to 2024 and 2025 and sort of what you're seeing now. How's the rescue landscape changed for you?
For me, I mean, I've grown 1,000 times since then. I started out just a tiny little bit. I had 10 fosters, and now I think I have 110 in the area. We do tons of adoptions as well. We're very, people know us in the area. I mean, I've learned from my mistakes. That's what's super important, right? You make an error, something happens, and you pivot. You have to learn from everything that you've gone through and what you've done. So parvo is a big one. I mean, if I get parvo, I change it up. You got to. You can't keep bringing it in.
What about other transports? Do you know if other transports are doing it the way you
No,
do it?
They don't do it the way
They
we do
don't.
it. I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, we can't use tarps. The puppies will eat the grommet." I've never had a puppy eat a grommet in my life. We can't do this. We can't do that. Or they're traveling the whole way and not stopping. Like, even if it's just my daughter and I, we'll stop and she'll hop in the back and clean the kennels out, and that's all transfer. Like if a dog above you has distemper and it's coughing on the dog below you, you have to be able to
Yeah.
But I see a lot of scary things coming through. Cringy.
And have you broached the topic with other rescues or transport companies?
In the past, I have, and I mean, everybody thinks that they know what's best. I see things, and I'm not one to hold my tongue, and I'll be like, can that dog breathe? You have so many dogs in here. Is that dog getting the air that it needs? And they don't like the criticism, but I mean, it's all for the safety of getting them here.
Yeah.
If you have to take one dog off the bus, to make it more safe for, the other 20. That's what you do.
You said that you've learned from your mistakes.
Mhm.
What mistakes do you think you've made that you've learned from that others
Um,
may make? And
Like
maybe
I said, overloading the truck. When we used to go up to Manitoba, we used to stuff that truck. Like it was stuffed, and you couldn't move in there. I like it now so that we have a passageway. Especially if there's young puppies in there, you don't know, he starts choking, or if there's a mom with pups and she's stepping on them and you need to go help, you need to be able to get back there. My protocols have tightened up just from different things. Like like I said, you have a parvo puppy come through. Well, could we have done different? You switch, you pivot, you just make changes along the way.
adopt.
Surrenders is a big one too. We were talking about that.
What about surrenders?
Well, sometimes you take dogs from the north and they say you stole the dog. So
I'm glad you brought that up, Kelly. Let's talk about that.
even though you didn't steal the dog.
So you know what? Thank you for going there. I wanted to respect it, but let's have that conversation. Um, you had a lot of backlash,
Yeah.
and you went through it.
5 or 6 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There was a dog that
2 dogs.
that's right, 2
Mm-hmm.
dogs that came out of a community.
Yeah.
I just remember, I vaguely remember the 2, but I remember the one because you and I talked about the one.
Yeah.
One was owned by a family that had a child, and the child took to social media, and it was big that she wanted her dog back.
Yeah.
You felt that that dog wasn't going to be returned. I believe that was your stance. I don't know ultimately what
Yeah.
happened to that dog. Did that dog go back? Because I
We
said,
sent him
Kelly,
back.
send the dog back.
We sent
Just
him
send the
back,
dog
yeah.
back. But what was that all about? And
There was a whole back story that that wasn't released. I mean, there was an agenda from the Kelly Club, the Hate Kelly Club, that sort of took a life of its own. What they didn't know is that I had chief and council telling me not to return those dogs. That they did not want those dogs returned. That they weren't being taken care of, and that they were just going to be shot. One breath, the family is saying, well, the chief is going to tell you to send the dog back, but I know the chief is telling me not to send the dog back. And then, so we adopted the dogs out.
that's right, you
Yeah,
adopted
we
the
adopted
dogs out.
because he said not to return them. And they were saying, listen to the chief. So we were listening to the chief. And then it was, well, they're not the chief's dogs and you need to return the dogs. So what happened was they just continued to, so let me get back to this story was we were asked by chief and council to come in and pick up any dogs that were free roaming, any dogs that looked sick or injured. That's what we did. We picked them up. We brought them to a local, it was the arena at the time at the local. So the owners, if they found their dogs missing, could come and pick up their dog.
And they stayed overnight there
stayed there
to
for a
give
couple
people
days.
time
It was
to.
a couple days. Yeah.
Okay.
And people did show up, and we had people that signed surrenders and showed up and said, I changed my mind. We gave those dogs. We have no reason to keep an owned dog. We really, really don't. The dog in particular that you're talking about happened to be pushed into a closet when the owner showed up. And I wasn't there at the time. Didn't see the dog and went home. So the next day we packed up, headed to Ontario, and the rescue that we were working with then posted the pictures of the dogs that had come to Ontario, where the family said, I think that's our dog. That was then where the chief said, don't send the dog back. Okay, no problem. And this was going on months and months. And then I said, okay, well, if you want the dog back, I want you to properly identify the dog. Because the pictures you have, the puppy's like 8 weeks old, and the dog I have is like 6, 7 months old. Big difference. They refuse to. So, search and rescue groups always say, get your proper identification before you release the dog. So that's what I wanted. I just wanted them to say, take a look at the dog, have a video conference. That's my dog. I'll send the dog back. They refused to do it for months and months. Finally, they did. And the dog went back. Easy peasy.
And how's the dog? Have you ever followed up? Do you know?
The agreement when the dog went back was that they were going to tie the dog up and make sure that it was safe. Last I heard, the dog was roaming at the pizza place. I don't know if it's alive still. I'm assuming it's probably dead. That community specifically has had some really, really, they had the fires and they had a lot of really hard times since then. So I can only assume that it's probably not alive, the dog.
And how did you manage that with the adopter? Like, how do you say to an adopter, I need your dog back, it has to go back?
The adopter was so scared and threatened so bad by these people that it was her decision to say, I need to send the dog back. I'm scared to walk him on the street. The other dog just went underground. I have no idea where the other dog is at this point. And I told them that's what's going to happen. I said, you guys are going to scare these people. They're going to put
Who
that
is
dog.
scaring everybody? Just
People in the community, people here were calling calling around. They found that the girl was a 20-year-old nursing student, and were calling the college, and like they were relentless, calling the vets, calling
The
they,
public
they
can get
called
wild.
my
man.
boss at the time to say this is like my boss was gonna it was relentless. You know, it was calling the RCMP. They were calling anybody that they could think of, the news. Finally, the owner just said, send the dog back. If that's, I can't walk him on the streets, I'm scared, send him back. And that's what we did.
So what's your takeaway from that?
My surrenders have changed. Obviously, we get surrender forms signed from chief and council when we go there, or the owners, whoever might come up. It's so odd because I've rescued 8,000 dogs, and
2-in-1
Two-
transport.
2-in-1 transport, was the problem. But like I told Hillary, it was more people here in Ontario than it was people in the reserve.
It was a big fucking deal. Like, it
Yeah.
was a big
It
deal.
was.
I remember messaging you saying, Kelly, like, just give the dog back. It ain't worth it, man. And you're killing the rest of the rescues that are helping the North. Like, just take, like, I'll pay to send the dog back.
Mhm.
Take
Yeah.
the dog back to the community. It was
But I guess
tough.
it's difficult when you see the dog, you know the dog, you love the dog, the family or foster knows and loves the dog. So it's probably more difficult than,
Just sending.
But
the
she
dog
was
back.
going through it. Like,
oh, for sure.
the
I didn't
mass
even know.
media picked it up. It was
Yeah.
in the news. Like, it was
I
every.
did see that. Yeah.
I mean, I was going through it, but nothing came of it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just it was a smoke storm. It was what it was, and I'll be honest, if anything, it brought more awareness to what we're doing. And I'll be honest, that's when we sort of exploded into the rescue that we are now. It sort of gave us that push that we needed to go from small to medium, small.
All publicity is good, I guess.
Yeah, so they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to live it, though.
Not when they're telling you you're going to
No.
put a cross on your front lawn and burn it.
Yeah,
That's
it was a
wild.
lot.
That's
was a
wild.
Yeah, they were going to kidnap my children. They were going to poison my dogs. It was a lot.
That's stressful.
Yeah, we in any platform, but like, I know even with Mattie's place, there's things I have to, sometimes I'll do a post, and I did one the other day, and I actually had to change it because I was like, holy shit. Like, the public is going to go wild, and there's just too much here, and I need to scale it back because I hold responsibility for perception and outcomes and people's lives. I try and be as honest and transparent with stories, but sometimes I put and you just see the comments start, and you go, "Oh shit,
cross the line."
we need to change something up here."
There's a fine line that you have to sort of tickle when you're doing those.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think you stay in your own lane?
Mhm.
Like, we have our rescue circles.
I'm mind my business.
Yeah, you really do mind your own business and stay in your own lane, and we never really hear from you.
No.
You just keep on. And I sometimes actually feel bad because I say often, like, it's rescue. Nobody understands rescue like rescue people. And everybody needs their circle to lean on
I
and
do have a
lean
circle.
into.
I do.
A rescue circle, yeah.
I work with tons of rescues.
That you know and that you trust. And
Absolutely. Yeah, they're great. Good. Yeah, I think in rescue there's a this side and there's that side. I think I'm on that side. And I mean, I prefer to stay in my own little bubble, doing my thing. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what you're doing in your rescue. I couldn't tell you what you're doing in yours. Because I just mind my own business. I think that's what, in the beginning, I was sort of like watching all of the pages and seeing what everyone was doing. And it was almost a toxic sort of thing. And I just kind of stepped back and was like, that's not where I'm going to go with this. I'm just going to do my dogs and keep my fosters and just make it as what I want it to be, not what everybody else is doing and that sort of thing. I think that's why we've gotten where we've gotten, because I'm sort of staying out of that drama circle that is rescue.
Yeah. How do you feel you're misunderstood?
Um,
Because we don't really have an opportunity to get to know you. So, and I think there's a lot of
I
perception.
I think people think that I am a hothead, a little bit crazy at times, but like I said, I stay in my own lane, but I don't let people fuck with me.
Yeah.
So if someone comes at me hot, I'm coming at you hot. And I don't like disrespect, and I don't like people talking to me as if they know more than I do, or tell me how I should be doing my thing, because I never tell anybody how. I'll give you some advice if you ask, but I would never come to your page and be like, why did this happen? And I see that so much, like other rescues going to other rescues pages and making stupid ass comments that aren't necessary.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to say something, private message the person and be genuine with it. Don't be a troublemaker. I don't like troublemakers. And if you come at me like that, then I'm just gonna come come back. So I think people think I'm a bit of a hothead because I don't take shit. I think they think that I'm a puppy flipper. That's some gossip I heard. I'm not. I do.
Yeah, there was always a rumor that all you took were puppies.
No.
For the longest time. I know you took adults.
I take
I never,
adults all the time.
but
I pride myself in taking entire families, and I take moms, I take puppies, I take the mom's older puppies. I just had a mom come in with a little puppy and her two older sons. I make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. I take the whole family every time, adult, puppy, whoever. My mandate is females. That's what I focus on. I take the females, and that's adults, because those are the problems those are the ones that are giving birth on the thing. I take adults, I take the injured, I take pregnant females and females with puppies, and then I take adult males. That's how it is. Adult females always come first. If you check my page right now, you probably see 10, 12, you probably see 100 puppies, but those are puppies that have come in with those mothers. And, you can fill a truck pretty fast with a litter of 10. That's
Yeah.
11,
Yeah.
11 puppies and dogs.
12 females and 12 litters.
It
or,
adds
you know,
up quickly, right? And it could only be 10 crates when you have 10 puppies with a mom, and the mom's had two others, and that daughter has had a litter of puppies. We always take the families. So
yeah, like it's important.
yeah, not a puppy flipper.
How are your puppy adoptions going? Like first of all, I can't stand having puppies in my rescue. I'm just not a puppy rescue.
Honestly, I'm not a puppy person either. I'd take an
Yeah,
adult dog over.
I struggle with it's so much work. And
Yeah.
but like right now I have 12 puppies.
Mhm.
I have more puppies, I think, than adults. Puppies just don't get adopted. Like for me, and maybe it's my rescue because I'm not really a puppy rescue, but I really struggle with puppy adoptions. I find there's just so many puppies. There's
Mhm.
puppies everywhere. How do you deal with it?
I don't want to sound braggy or anything.
You can brag. I'll brag if
do
I've got things to brag about. I'm gonna
I
brag.
do about 10 to 20 adoptions a week.
Okay.
So like this week, I think we had 17 or 18 adoptions, and a couple of those were adults. We do get a lot of people looking for adults, but people want puppies, especially if they have young. We adopt people with young kids. A lot of rescues don't do that.
The northern dogs are so good for families.
for
I
sure,
just
yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah, they are. So a lot of people with young kids will come to us and say, "Oh, we've been turned down by so and so because they don't do kids under 12, or they don't, whatever."
You need a backyard.
In the backyard, and I mean, we have restrictions, but they're not as strict, I think, as other rescues. So our puppy adoptions, they go quick. Depends on the puppy. I mean, we take a lot of tan and black dogs. We take a lot that other people don't
Those
want.
are my favorite. The
We'll
tan
wait till
and
the end of the list and we'll
yeah.
take whatever's left over. And generally, it's the tan and black ones. It's the ones that
Yeah.
are just kind of boring.
Yeah.
I'm surprisingly, we adopt a lot of those out.
And how do you deal with spays and neuters? So for me, as a comparison, I spay and neuter at 6 to 7 months old. I want to try and push it until a female goes into heat. I'm a little more lenient with males if they're going to be sort of giant breeds, which 100 plus pounds. But 6 to 7 months is I don't do juvenile spays and neuters anymore. Not that I'm not opposed to it. I've done it. But I have recently a couple of people, actually I shouldn't say a couple, one that doesn't want to show up for their neuter next week. And I'm getting emails this long saying these are all the reasons why. And I'm like, yeah, I'll see you at the appointment because it's in the contract. It's at my cost. It's at my vet. It's a non-negotiable. Then I get an email. We rented football fields and we have lots of money and we will get lawyers and and I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, I have lawyers too. I don't rent football fields, but I have money too. I'll see you in court. I'm not like you telling me you're going to take me to court doesn't fucking scare me. Like, let me tell you people that are going to challenge my adoption contract. You don't scare me by telling me you have a lawyer. Like, it doesn't, I have a lawyer too. So,
Same.
How do you combat? Do you include it in your adoption contracts? Where are you getting pushback from people saying we're not showing up? And what age are you spaying and neutering?
So we spay and neuter the females, same as you, 6 months. I do not allow them to go into heat. So we actually have a spay and neuter program that is run by a lovely volunteer by the name of Jill that she travels the world and takes her computer and she does all of that stuff for me. Excuse me. And so we do the females before the first heat at 6 months and the males at a year. Same as you. I'm not too fussy. If their vet comes back and says he's going to be a giant breed, we'll push it a little bit more. It is, well, people like to say it's included into our adoption fee. I like to say that it is provided as a fee. That our fee is $850.
Yeah.
And
you have some terminology where it's which is why I'm asking because it's interesting.
Yeah, it's not covered because obviously a spay and neuter is a lot more than that, including all of the rest of the vetting. But we do provide that through fundraising for all of our dogs. It's in our contract that at those times that we contact them, set up an appointment at our vet, and they drop them and pick them up. We have a couple of vets that work with us that have worked with the program that have helped us. We don't do juvenile spay and neuters only because a lot of our fosters will take 5 puppies. That's a lot of surgeries to have in one home, and to ask a foster to cover. So we do them a little bit later, but I mean, we get the odd one. I make it very, very clear at adoptions. Like my speech is, you're signing today that regardless of what your vet says, you are going to have her spayed before her first heat. And I've had people say, well, I kind of think that they're going to be bigger and my vet says this. And I say, if you had told me that, I wouldn't have let you take the dog.
That's right.
And then they get into the same, like, well, so I usually make my phone call to them after our friendly Jill has tried her, and I just lay it out straight to them. Like, return the dog then. You signed the contract. I also have a clause in my contract that I value the dog at $10,000.
Yeah, -5, yeah.
If they fail to do any of the things, I drop that on them.
Yeah.
And generally, besides maybe 1 or 2 that have really just kind of gone off, and they're boys, gone off somewhere in space, they're all done.
Yeah. And do you have and I could be making this up, but do you have like a $200 refund no,
No, if they do it at their vet, strictly at their
if they do
cost.
it at their vet.
Strictly at their cost, and they're still in our program. We still contact them, and they have to provide proof of that. And if not, I'm calling their vets to say, hey, did they get done? I don't fuck around when it comes to spay and neuters.
Yeah, but
And
more and
people know
more
that.
more and more rescues are, and they're not including spays and neuters anymore, or they're giving that
Because of the
refund.
aggravation, yeah.
You know, if you give us proof of spay or neuter, we'll give you $200 back, which people are like, screw that. I'm not spending $1,000 on
Yeah.
a neuter and
Yeah.
getting 200 back. I'm just not going to do it.
yeah.
No, you can keep my 200.
Yeah.
So the landscape in rescue is really changing with
Mhm.
spays and neuters, and it's shocking to me that there's not as many people going like spay and neuter your dog, and same with me. Like, it's in my adoption profile. We talk about it during the telephone interview. It's in my contract. It's like it's a non-negotiable. And, most people thank you to my adopters that honor it. But there's just sometimes
There's
that
always
it
a
just,
few.
and what happens is those people that don't follow the adoption contracts, it's just going to make me do juvenile spays and neuters again.
Well, that's what I do. And I'm,
You do juice.
oh yeah, yeah. It's just for me. I know it's done. I know they're out. My dogs stay with me until a couple of weeks after their second round of vaccines. So I don't adopt out little puppies. If they want little puppies, they'll have to go somewhere else because that's how I do it. So yeah.
So
on
at
their
what
second
age are
round-
you spaying and neutering?
So it depends on when they come in. So usually I will do it on their second round of vaccines is when they get their spay and neuter. So they'll come in for their first round. Depends on the age of the dog when it comes in. So they'll come in for their first round, and then 4 weeks later they'll get their second round and their spay, and then a week or 2 after that they're ready to go home. So they're a little bit older when they go home. But for me, I have had
You don't take a lot of puppies though. Like I have 100 puppies right now. Could you imagine me doing spay and neuters on all of them?
I don't know.
It would be.
I
cra-
just
It would be.
I can't
crazy.
deal with
Mhm.
you tell them, you sit, you have the conversation, and then when it comes time for the spay and neuter, they send you we're going to
email.
do it. And then they send you the email, and I just don't want to do that. I just want it done. It's clean. They're out, and that's how it works for me. So
Yeah.
So none of your puppies go home
Not done.
not spayed or neutered?
no, never,
All right.
never. No, it's just for me. It's clean. It's easy. It's done. I tried to do it years ago with hey, meet me back at my clinic with a contract, and I think it was the first one we tried to do. We got slack, and it turned into a big ordeal. So yeah, so I stopped.
Yeah, I don't let them push me around.
I don't know if there's
Especially
a
if
way
they
you
try.
can prevent it if they decide. I just feel like my energy is better spent elsewhere than trying to convince someone to come back to my clinic for a spay and neuter. And I understand their side because, at the time of the agreement, they didn't, I'm sure they loved their puppy, but here they've had several weeks of, bonding with this puppy, and now they have to hand it over to someone that they would consider almost a stranger you've met a handful of times, and go to a clinic that they don't know. It's scary, I imagine. I mean, for me, I would imagine that's why they're like putting the brakes on.
But it doesn't matter. Like you accepted an adoption contract.
I agree.
My adoption
100%
contract
agree.
even says, speak to your lawyer, speak to your veterinarian, initial here that you are 100% agreeing to spay and neuter on this. And I even put my spay and neuter date in my
I've done
contract.
it. I know.
Like,
I know. And I
it's-
still got the kickback. So I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't.
But wait, people need to, your word is your word. If you don't have your word, what do you have in life? You signed a contract.
All right, but that's happened to me where
Spay and
she's
neuter.
like, and I even reiterated, and I said, when this day comes, you may feel like, you don't want to do this, but it just still happened. And I knew it was going to come. It was the first dog that I tried to do it the other way.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. So it's just not meant to be for me. So that's it.
I mean, we tried it too, where we had them, taking to the vet and then providing certificates. It was just a chasing game, and I finally just said, no, that's enough's enough. If they're not going to, we upped our price and said, okay,
Yeah.
this is what's going to happen, and that's what happens. We have very, very little pushback now. I mean, I get the odd one, but the same as you. I just give them the friendly phone call, and then
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah. I've had matches with vets over it, and holistic vets, and this and that, and they've all gone after speaking with me. They've all been at their appointments on time and doing what they should do.
Well, the thing is, the vet industry will, like, there were 3 major spay and neuter white papers out there, studies done. All of those papers state very clearly, if it's a mutt, this study isn't relevant.
Yeah, I use that too.
And if it's a shelter, I mean, they don't say rescue, but same. If it's a shelter, the papers support early spays and neuters in shelters for the shelter system and the overpopulation crisis. And all of the papers say it's, I think Dobermans are the only ones that are excluded, but it's 100 pounds or more. And now there are more studies, now coming out, which people are, throwing around, and that's great.
Yeah.
But vets are also all across the board.
Yeah.
I've heard from, our juvenile spay and neuter vets that will do juvenile spays and
Yes,
neuters
I've heard the same.
up
Yeah.
to 3 years old. I've had some vets say you shouldn't spay or neuter till they're 3 years old. And I'm thinking, what? You want a dog to go into heat how many times?
9.
Like,
No thanks.
what? Like, where? I don't know where the mindset is.
Yeah,
And that's
I
what's and that's where the public is getting deceived, truly deceived.
I guess it would be confusing, when you've
Sure.
got,
You have to remind them that they are mutts. They're not purebreds, and that all of that, scientific crap is based on purebred dogs
Yeah.
at specific weights. You don't know what a northern dog's going to look like. I
Yeah.
mean, I have dogs that come, a pug that had puppies at my own house, and the lady said, I need to return this dog. It's too big now. And I said, what do you mean? The mom's a pug, and the thing looked like a black lab.
Oh,
I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
what the heck? What the heck happened there?
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't tell. I mean, so I remind them, you don't know what the dog's going to look like. You don't know how much it's going to weigh. You can use all your little crazy numbers, adding, subtracting, whatever. You can't. There's no way of telling.
Yep. And I can tell you, I have more dogs surrendered to me, just for me personally. I've had more dogs surrendered to me with great big hairy testicles. Sorry, producer Dean.
gross.
That came in with cruciate tears and hip dysplasia, and they're being surrendered because their owners can't afford the money to do surgeries. Then I've had spayed or neutered dogs mostly that have had any issues, or spayed dogs for that matter, that came back down the road that had issues. Now, I have had some, but that also doesn't necessarily mean because they were spayed or neutered. It could be genetics. It could be a million things
Right.
why
we don't
they
know.
had issues.
We don't know.
But I have a lot of dogs with great big testicles where people your dog is now torn up and can't walk, and it's had all the testosterone it's needed for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's,
I don't think I've had anybody come back to me and say, because my dog was spayed or neutered early, that it has a problem.
I
Can't
haven't
remember
had
any time.
anything yet either. I'm waiting. I mean, there's one case that there was a dog. I think it was it the hips? And he was a year old. So I wondered if it was because I neutered him
Is it
young.
a shepherd?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, he's a shepherd mix. He's a northern dog.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Northern dog, but
could have
like
the
you said,
genetics of a shepherd.
yes,
That's not
he did.
necessarily
He-
because
he
he
looks-
looks neuter. That's his genetics because he's a shepherd.
Oh, I see where you're going. Yeah. Okay, maybe, yeah. So I don't know. That's the only one though. So I don't think that's enough for me to change our protocol just because I don't have anyone to, make sure that they're getting spayed and neutered
Mhm.
after. So for me, this is easier.
it's still sad to me that as rescues, we have to do things the way that we do because you just can't trust the
Yeah.
public.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
They will tell you whatever they think you want to hear to get the puppy that they want.
Yeah.
I've seen it a million times.
I would rather not be the one responsible, like you said, you've got a lot of puppies, for picking up the dog, taking it to the vet, bringing it back to the foster, having the foster take care of it. I would love to have it happen after it's been adopted because
you-
then
You pick the dogs up?
I do, yeah.
Oh,
Take them to the
I
vet.
do too. I do all
Yeah.
my vet appointments.
I don't get to
Not me.
see my dogs very often, so that's the only time I really get to spend time with them and maybe maybe here and there, but it's just not often. So it kind of gives me a better idea of who they are, So it's nice to.
Yeah, I enjoy doing that for that same reason. I get to hang out with
For
them
who
and
they
get to
are.
know them,
Yeah.
and I do like intake. Nobody does like I'm always at take. I
we
intake
do
a dog.
every time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
a dog. I'm the only one that a dog goes home to. And I do have a driver now that helps with some of the vet trips, but I always do most of them, and unless it's a dog that every week we have some medical dogs, and then it's the other Denise that jumps in and does.
The other Denise.
I know it's so confusing. The other Denise will be there, but yeah, I love it, and I get to just get to know them and see how they're doing and check in on them. But I think you're probably large. Like, how many
Yeah,
dogs
it's
do you
different.
have
It's
at a
very
time
different.
in your rescue?
It depends. I mean, it fluctuates. I just brought in 96 in December. So I quietly go on an intake freeze. I'll take a trickle in like emergency ones, but then we wait for those ones to get adopted, and then we'll bring in another batch, and then we'll wait for those to get adopted. So I mean, w- we have maybe 120 right now.
It's a lot of dogs.
It's a lot of dogs. But like again, that's fosters that have 5 or 6 puppies
Yeah.
at a time. I have 5 at my house. So yeah, it would be impossible for me to drive them all to the vet.
Yeah, it might be hard.
Especially with puppies, right?
Although we have been talking about loading foster dogs up and just doing like one giant spay and neuter just to get them kind of done and sorted instead of the fosters always driving them. But I mean, that's in the planning stages. I don't know. I don't know if that can happen.
So what's the scoop on spays and neuters in the northern communities? Like, who's doing them now, and what's happening for spay and neuter initiatives? And more so, like I say, why aren't we doing vaccine initiatives? Like, just
That would be-
vaccinating
They do.
full
Right.
communities.
They do.
Or is that happening?
Yeah, they do wellness clinics as well. I know like Precious Paws was just up there doing a clinic just last week or something. I'm taking 2 dogs that were at the clinic tomorrow. I have to pick them up. Mattawa, that's a government sort of supported program who goes up. They're just up in Kasheshawan
Yeah.
doing
Space
a
Coast. Yeah.
an emergency call up there. Cash has cleared out their population due to some sort of toxic something up there. So all the dogs are there by themselves. So they had the team go up there last week and feed and do implants and vaccinations. I've been to different communities just to help out. Winnipeg Humane went up to God's Lake. We were up there in August to do vaccinations and implants, some spay and neuters. So they do vaccines as well as the clinics. There's not a lot of clinics happening because of the cost, and
Yeah.
it's
How much is it?
it's about like 30 grand or something.
Oh,
like
wow.
that, maybe more now.
Okay.
Like we couldn't go and do one ourselves. Like it would
Right.
be
Yeah.
impossible. I'd have to have a huge backer to
Yeah.
help me. But I mean, we go and support the clinics, and we clean up dog poop, and we walk the dogs and feed the dogs and support the community and do all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish there was an answer for the North. I don't know what it is.
I think it is government funded because that's really the only way.
Yeah, like Mattawa, I think they got $3 million last year to do spay and neuter clinics, and that's in support with like Northern Reach goes and helps them, and they have their funding as well. But I mean, that's just one small. They have to pick a specific community to focus on that community when there's hundreds of thousands of dogs in Northern Ontario and Canada that are
Yeah, what do you think the population is in all the
at
communities?
least 100,000. I know that one community recently shot 300 dogs, and there was still probably 100, 200 dogs there.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's not going to stop.
Yeah, and the people, we talk about the dogs, but the reality is the people need help too. Like they're paying, $20 for a little container of milk.
Yeah.
They're,
Housing is
so
I don't know. Have
poor.
you ever been to a reserve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a whole we filmed an entire community for 3 days just before COVID, dump sites, and
Yeah.
spoke to chief and council and spoke to and then COVID came and I never got to release it, and I should, and I didn't, and it got away. But yeah, we went up there for a week and just shot so much and
Yeah.
talked to the people, and it was gut wrenching, Kelly. Like,
Yep. I've left. I mean, I'm a hard girl, and I have left communities in tears.
Yeah.
Just the kids and the people, and they're so great. The people are so great, and they want the help. But they have nothing to help themselves. So how are they going to help these dogs?
Yeah.
They don't have fresh drinking water. So how are they going to, their kids are eating Wonder Bread for dinner. And, what do you feed a dog that doesn't have dog food in the store?
Yeah.
I said to one lady, when we were up in God's Lake, I said, what do you feed them? She says, we don't.
Yeah.
Because there's no food here.
And I want to take that moment to thank Open Farm has been really good to Mattie's place with donations, and we've been able to send truckloads of food up. And I think that there are more companies, pet food companies, and cats too, because these
Yeah.
communities have cats, that we need to start getting more food north via donation so that these communities can start feeding pets better and helping themselves, because a lot of people go in and leave food and scatter food, and so with thanks to companies like Open Farm. I don't know if you guys have companies that send food up, but
Not specific companies, but we do send, like we get donations from Pet Value and other little places around that what we can't use, we do send up for them. Every time we transport, we make sure the van's full of food and cat food and canned food and stuff like that for them.
I have a bunch of collars and stuff
Yeah,
too. Next
collars
time
and
you go
leashes,
up,
yeah.
let me know, because I have a bunch of stuff I can send up.
Yeah.
How can the community support, like, how can our community support these communities? Like, do you ever do calls for action? I mean, other than monetary
Mhm.
values, like, is there anything that people can do to help you, to help them in any way?
I mean, we do calls where we, write your PM, let them know. I mean, it doesn't go far.
Yeah.
I've written so many letters to chief and councils and Justin Trudeau's and all of those people. You never hear back from any of them. I'm not. I'll be honest. I don't know what the answer is and how they can. I mean, everything helps, I guess, if you continue to write letters and let them know what's. I think the biggest problem is people aren't aware of what's even going on up there. Like
Well,
I talk
this is
to
it.
people every single day, and they're like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, it. I mean, for me, it's like, how do you not know? But I guess if you don't live it, you don't know it.
Yeah. Every time you talk about a dog call, people are like, "What? We shoot
Yeah.
dogs in Canada? What?"
Shocking.
They can't.
Why
They
isn't
don't
this
understand
person
it.
arrested? Well, the person not arrested, he's being paid to do it.
Yeah. It's his job.
People are just astonished that is something that happens in Canada.
And it's like $15 a dog or something.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
it's not
I
even.
think it's 25 for a tail.
Yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah.
But it's a way of life for some, and it's how they
Well,
manage
I
their
mean, like
overpopulation.
like you said, it's not every community is the same. Not every person in the community is the same. I think if they are calling, I had a really big issue with a recent call that happened with a gentleman who was shooting them inhumanely. They have to be taken care of with dignity, killed right away. Like you can't be shooting dogs, penises off, and laughing on the internet because that is something cool for you.
Did you say on the internet?
Yep, he was on the internet laughing about how he'd been hired to shoot these dogs. I get why they do it. I totally do. But for me, it has to be done the right way. It has to be done so that they're not suffering. And I've even said to people, you can't get the dog out. It has a catastrophic injury. Please get the RCMP to shoot it.
Yep.
You know, like you
have
have to.
You have done that too.
I
Yeah.
had to do it, and there's only so many flights out. Something happens on a Friday night.
Yeah.
You wait until Monday.
But it has to be
it's not gonna
dignified.
happen.
I mean, it has to be that, they're not doing it on the doorsteps where the children
Yeah.
are coming in and out from school. And I've seen pictures of them. I've seen dogs frozen, propped up with a bullet.
Oh, wow.
People, like that. That's not okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's, people need to know that it's not okay.
And as you mentioned, like, yeah, I know I've had so many northern dogs that have come in with bullets, like, oh, another BB,
Yeah.
another, bullet in them, alive. Like
Yeah.
they're going in for their spay or neuter,
Yeah, and then
and
they see it.
they find,
Yeah.
Yep.
and you think, holy shit, like this dog was shot and survived, and just
I had a
It's
dog that was
amazing.
shot in the head, and she lost the top of the palate of her milk.
Oh.
And survived.
Oh.
it's crazy.
Mhm. And comes down, and that's $15,000 repair.
Yeah.
You can't. What do you do if she's happy? She's healthy. Otherwise, you have to fix her.
I was saying to Dean, it's crazy what we do, eh? Like we all have some kind of mental health issues, some more than
Probably.
others, to be in rescue. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy what we do and what we give up, and the emotional roller coaster that we go through to be in rescue. We're short a few marbles
For
to
sure.
do this.
It's not like there's a
I've-
big payday at the end of this,
No, you don't
That's-
even get a pizza. So I've been crying over a dog I've never met, just sobbing because something terrible has happened to it. And then my phone rings, and then it's like, hi, it's Kelly from Lost Boys. And you have to just switch.
I was at VEC Toronto yesterday, day before yesterday. One puppy, and oddly a cockapoo, 4-month-old cockapoo puppy. So I'm in the exam room. One puppy, we've been fighting to save her life for 6-7 weeks now. $10,000+ weekly vet visits, like just a roller coaster. Her vet appointment yesterday, the specialist just said, we're at the end of the road. Like, she has to be euthanized. There's nothing more we can do. We've tried everything.
I didn't know
And
this.
then at the same moment, I have Teddy there that has been at Emerge all week, that is now healthy and released and fine. So I'm in the exam and I'm thinking, I'm fucked up, man. This is people judge me. This is why I'm so fucked up. I have one dog that I need to euthanize, and I have one dog that I'm like, hey, dude, like, I'm so happy to meet you. Like, congratulations, you survived.
Split
Yeah.
And I'm-
personality you have.
Yeah,
to
and
have.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
that this carrier survives, 4-month-old cockapoo, and this 4-month cockapoo and this carrier, I need to euthanize you on Monday. My emotions are just like so torn, and I don't think people realize that, like what we go through as a rescue on founders mostly, like the decisions that we have to make and the stuff that we have to deal with. And like you said, and then you got to pick up the phone and be like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. And you're dealing with just so much. Like, why do you do it?
Good question. I think I do it. Well, my brother asked me this question once. He's like, why do you do it? Like, your house is a wreck.
Yeah.
Your life is a wreck. You got kids. Like, it's for me, I just want to make a small difference somehow. I want my life to be something that someone could say, you know what, you made a little difference helping something somehow, somewhere. Where, not that my life prior to this wasn't reward with rewards, but I think I just needed a little bit more to say that I was helping and making a difference.
Why do you do it?
Because I couldn't not. And for me, it started with, I think what bothers me the most are shelter dogs. It's probably what started me it kept me up at night, were the shelter dogs, and imagining how scared they were in the shelter, and then being euthanized, scared and alone as well. That was terrible. So,
But
um,
can I ask you a question about shelter dogs? And like, I don't take shelter dogs
yeah,
only because I just find they're way more difficult because people don't generally give up.
if you're comparing
Great
to
dogs.
northern dogs, there
Northern dogs.
could be,
But
Yeah.
if it's a dog that is not being treated well, and I say this all the time, like people bash on the SPCA, and I have my own issues with the SPCA and what they do and all that stuff. But
They stole her logo.
I saw that.
I really feel like it's a little too close. Like,
Sorry.
honestly.
But at the end of
Pivot.
the day, at the end of the day, if the dog is being mistreated and it's not in a position where it's leading a great life and there's nowhere else to go, foster base, rescue, or whatever, the best place for it to go is to the shelter. So in my mind, when I think of shelter dogs, some of them, it's a better place than where they were.
I don't think anybody.
No, being in
disagrees
the
with that.
shelter.
But she's saying that
it'd
she
be-
feels really guilty that the dog is in there and the dog would be scared and
Yeah, just for me, it's when you're euthanizing a dog, I want it to feel like it's been loved and it's with people it feels comfortable with, as opposed to, and I'm not at all saying
you're
the
referring to like
shelter was a bad
euthanization
place.
in a shelter.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so like they're terrified while they're in the shelter, not because they're being mistreated in the shelter,
No, I'm not
but it's a
saying
scary place. And then they get euthanized in shelter because there's not enough room. And I just think that
Gotcha.
Hillary
that's heartbreaking.
took a lot of U.S. dogs.
California dogs. a
California
lot of
dogs
them.
were
Yeah,
your
so this is
heart
probably,
dogs.
and here now in Canada too, because we have
We see it now, but when you
then
and
we
I
did
were
not.
talking, I was like, Hillary,
yeah,
you need to stop importing these dogs because we have too many here.
yeah.
And I'm so glad that you started focusing on Ontario dogs.
Well, we have a lot to focus
Yeah.
on. I mean, at the time we still did. We had the northern dogs, but I didn't have
But
an
you say,
inn.
you say
I didn't have an
Ontario
inn.
dogs are northern dogs, not Ontario dogs?
No.
Why not?
Well, northern dogs are Canadian dogs.
But they're in northern Ontario.
Well, yeah, I mean, northern Ontario dogs, for sure. The James Bay coast, those are Ontario dogs. Absolutely. But I think, like, there's a difference between Ontario dogs and Manitoba dogs.
Absolutely.
Even personality. Well, I'll trust a Manitoba dog over a James Bay. Now, there are some communities. Attawapaskat is the best.
I
I
just
know
love
community
those
has better
dogs.
dogs than
I really do
Attawapaskat.
love them.
But there's a big difference between Northern Ontario community dogs and Manitoba dogs, just like there's a big difference between Manitoba dogs and Nunavut dogs. They're all magical in their own ways, but very different personalities, in my opinion.
I think different communities are very different personalities. It depends how well the community is taking care of their strays.
For sure.
Like I was saying, if the dogs have a really hard life, then they're going to be really rough dogs. If they have people who are taking care of them and feeding them, they're nice, sweet, socialized, good dogs.
Yeah.
But I think that there was a divide there. Like when you're saying Ontario dogs, you're meaning like shelter dogs as opposed to northern dogs.
Me? Or I was saying, I guess in my mind, I was comparing Quebec to
Quebec.
Ontario because that's the shelters that I pull from.
Quebec is the worst province I've ever pulled dogs out of.
Yeah. And yeah, it's their shelter systems suck and they still gas dogs, which is horrendous.
Yeah,
and
it's terrible.
it's, horrifying.
Same as I was saying about shooting. They have to do it humanely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no difference to me.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, for Mattie's place, I have stopped bringing in northern dogs for various reasons. I focus on Ontario right now because we're dying here. Like, we're just literally dying. Our dogs are dying in healthy dogs being euthanized in shelters every week. Owner surrenders. They can't keep up. Dogs are being dumped. We're in a huge crisis where I used to say we're in an overpopulation crisis in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just say it's right here. It's just circled in. And then with all of the distempers and parvos and all of the things coming in, even Quebec dogs, like my new protocol is and will continue to be, and it's just new, but like any dog coming in has to have a parvo test and has to be vaccinated. I'm not taking any dogs from Quebec anymore unless at least the first round of vaccines are done and there's a parvo test, because we're just bringing too much into Ontario, and it's affecting our dogs here.
And it might just be movement, period.
So what's
Do you know what I mean? Like, instead of like saying Ontario and Quebec, maybe it's just movement. Maybe, we don't need to be moving them all around like that, from all the way from, because all we're doing is taking one mess and moving it to another location.
Yeah, right now we are, because
Do you
it's
know what
just
I
a
mean?
complete mess right across Canada.
So, yeah.
So, but I think the distemper and parvo situations is because rescues aren't following the strict
I agree.
quarantine protocols.
Kelly, one of the rescues that brought in distemper dogs that have died had events planned and were in pet values with those distemper dogs.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really scary thing that is just being spread. And
Yeah.
the Ministry of, what is it, Agriculture, or who deals with that? They don't care about distemper. I know a rescue that reached out to them and they were just like,
It is what
it is what it is.
They
It-
said that?
In
the,
our case,
the veterinarian
Oh,
said
okay.
from the Ministry of, is it Agriculture? I don't know.
it's one of them, yeah.
The veterinarian wrote her back and said, look at distemper is part of
I read that, yeah.
puppies. Yeah, you
But
saw the letter. Like,
even that situation, I mean, the transport wasn't safe. The
Right.
second they knew, like, it's my understanding that they knew that the first initial litter was sneezing, that dog would not have made it on my transport. We would
yeah,
held it
why
off.
would they put it on? Like,
That
why
is
would you put a
just
sick puppy?
completely irresponsible. But I also think that, rescues, like, I do a strict 2-week quarantine for all my dogs that come in, whether they're quarantined up north, whether they come down here. The second they get to my building, they're back in 2-week quarantines. And my fosters, no, they're
But
not
Kelly,
allowed to
what's
leave their house.
quarantine? Like, I hear from rescues all the time too. Oh, we quarantine them. But what is
Quarantine is
what is your quarantine protocol? Because they're going from here to there. They're moving about. That's not quarantine. Quarantine
They
is
don't
not
move them
moving the
around for
dog
2
through the system.
They don't move them for 2 weeks.
So they go into a foster
They
home
go
and they
into a
stay in
foster
the
home
foster.
and they stay there. Even if the foster says, "Oh, I can't do this. I need to move them," that dog
committed
stays
to their
there.
2 weeks?
You stayed there for 2 weeks because I'm not moving a dog that might possibly have parvo to another foster home, and that might contaminate 2 homes.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. So they keep the dogs in their house, in their yards. They don't walk them. They don't take them outside. Of course, puppies that don't have all the vaccinations, they don't do that until second vaccinations.
Yeah.
The fosters know that I mean business. Even when they take them to the vet, they carry them in.
Same.
Their paws never touch the ground ever. If they do, it's big trouble. You get in big trouble from me.
And nobody
If
wants
I
to
see
get
it-
big trouble
If
for
I see a
Kelly.
picture and the dog is like even in their front yard of their house,
Yeah.
they get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because it's strictly because you don't know what's walking in your front yard.
Well, it's the same thing, right? It's not just our puppies spreading it to somebody else. It's
others.
what's on your
Yep.
sidewalk, the poop, the pee, the
And I
lepto, the
think that's
whatever
what
that
people don't
is being picked
understand
up.
is that parvo and distemper are invisible.
And leptospirosis.
And are invisible, and there doesn't have to be poop on the ground. Doesn't have to be
Yeah.
direct contact with
Yeah.
the dog. It can just be somebody picked it up. It's still in the ground. Boom, your puppy has parvo.
Yeah, because dogs poop on sidewalks in the grass and you pick it up and there's stuff left behind. There's stuff left behind. The puppy steps on it and licks
his
its
paws,
paws
yeah.
or sniffs it and it's on the tip of its nose. And now you got lepto, you got parvo,
It's
you got,
microscopic,
yeah.
microscopic. It doesn't have to be.
and fosters don't often get that.
They don't get that, and I make it very clear. We have a whole foster package that goes out to them when they sign up, that this is what it is. Here's what you're going to see, and we lay it down to them. If you see them vomiting, I mean, we go through a checklist, right? If the dog's got diarrhea, well, it could be food change, could be this, try this, try this. If the dog's vomiting, it's got diarrhea, is lethargic, it immediately goes to the vet. No questions, right to the vet. They do a parvo test there, and then we go from there. What are the outcome?
Now, I parvo test all puppies that come in and I get hit from people on social media all the time. What a waste of time. The dog's not symptomatic. Why are you testing? I do because I would rather get ahead of parvo, and it takes time to incubate and show up. So if I get a parvo test that's positive, I have time to send it a snap test. We do snap tests. Then I'll send it to the lab for more confirmation, and at least we can get ahead of it. Do you parvo test?
I don't parvo test them when they come in. I'm lucky enough that I've sort of shifted who I work with. I'm very specific of
Yep.
who I work with. Northern Reach is really great. They give us a first vaccination before any dogs come in. And they're usually in their foster homes for probably about 2 or 3 weeks before they come down. So we already have a head start from the reserve before they come down. But even then, I still put them into a 2-week quarantine period once they come.
Who's Northern Reach? Are they in
They're in Thunder Bay.
Thunder Bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they
There's
do
Northern
some-
Reach, and who's the other one? I always get them mixed up.
I know.
Northern
Was Northern Reach for
Connection.
Northern Connection.
Yeah, that's Megan South.
She's here.
Yeah.
So different.
Yeah.
Megan South? Oh, is there
Megan
Megan
South.
North?
Megan Northern Connection.
Okay.
She's sitting in the south.
Yeah, but that's where Willow came from. My.
But
is
she
that the
probably
same?
hauled them from somewhere up north down, right?
Okay.
And I think the person who transported Willow is the same person who brought the distemper.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
So
Vegetable
Careful.
there. Yeah.
And what's happening with that December? Have you heard anything?
honestly, I don't.
more?
Like I said, I stay in my own little bubble. I only hear like if it becomes big news,
Right.
and then I don't know. I know a couple of them died or something.
Yeah.
But I don't
I don't know what happened either.
No. I only know if like my daughter will say, "Hey, did you see it?" And I'll be like, "Oh, let me flip through. I didn't see anything," because I don't follow.
It's a big deal, though. Like, especially out of northern communities, you're a northern rescue. It's a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, Manitoba is much, much different. Manitoba has a lot of viruses, disease. They're probably 5-10 years behind Ontario and their northern dogs. There's heartworm, and they
Have you ever had the kidney worm?
Yeah.
You had a kidney worm
a
top?
couple of them? Yeah. They always come in beat up. Like they always look rough. They always
Yeah.
are, northern dogs, like I said, we have that little buffer, so they come in, they're bathed, or they look decent, or
It's tough.
yeah.
It's a tough life.
Manitoba is a rough place for those dogs. I don't pull so much from there, just because I'm so scared of getting something.
Yeah.
So most of my dogs in I would say probably the last 8 months, maybe a year, mostly Ontario dogs.
Northern Ontario?
Yeah.
Kelly,
Mhm.
you and I had some bonding time
We did.
over lost dogs. I think our friendship probably was, not that we have a friendship, we have a love and hate kind of friendship.
Yeah.
But I think we had some good times together, some good love for one another during search and rescue stuff.
Some bonding moments. Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I'll share my story. It was about 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago. I adopted a dog out, and shortly after adoption, the adopter lost the dog. Obviously, I went out looking right away. A search and rescue group got involved. Which one was it? I get them all mixed up too. It was the same
There's a
one that
few.
you had.
There's a few.
Oh, I can't remember the name of it. I'll look it up while
Depends
you're
on
telling your
location.
story. The dog was in Toronto, but I think they were from a northern. I'll look at the name
Okay.
because I'm happy to say it. They made my life a living hell.
Mhm.
So the dog was lost. I was out doing the best that I could, had people out looking. And then a search and rescue group came in and kind of took over. But initially, they were working with rescue and adopter. And I just want to say that's the most important thing, that search and rescue groups work with rescue and adopter, because both bring very big things to the table for a dog when it's lost. The first couple of days were great, and then it wasn't. And then it just fell off a cliff.
Huh?
They put a real wedge between myself and my adopter,
Mhm.
who just then refused to have
Yeah.
any communication. And the search group said, well, they're the owners and they're the only ones we're communicating with.
Mhm.
And let me say, first of all, every person in rescue, we are so emotionally connected to our dogs. It's like our children, even if we don't live with the dog. And there's something about, and again, as I said, we have mental health issues. We just are so connected. These dogs are our world. So a lost dog is as traumatizing to us as it is to an adopter. So
If not
it's
more.
if not more,
more,
because
'cause
we've done
generally had them longer.
yes, and done so much and put so much into that dog to get it to a safe space. So Booker was lost. He was crossing the road, busy roads. They search and rescue. They just weren't making traction on it. And I said, with the support of my vet, Booker's vet, I did all of his vetting. Let's get some trazodone or gabapentin or something, because we could get this close to him and then he'd be gone and he wouldn't go in a trap. And I said, let's just drug him. Let's get some meatballs with some drugs. He always took off into the ravine and we'll just track him. They had their cameras up. We'll see where he goes. And then
I know what's coming.
and then we got him. And the search and rescue group about lost their godforsaken
He was
mind
gonna drown.
because he was going to drown. He was
Yeah.
going to get hit by a car. He was something like tragic was going to happen if we drugged him. And I said, well, it's been a week and nobody's getting this dog. So we need to change it up. Drones were recommended. Nobody wanted to do drones because it scare the dog. It'll drive the dog into traffic, and which is crazy. So they just cut the rescue me out. I was the bad guy. I was, all of the things, and I was pissed. Like I was pissed. Ultimately, he was found. We had posted he was found under somebody's deck. Thank God the dog was returned. But I've never had an update on that
Returned to you
dog.
or the owner?
The adopter. Never had an update on that dog. Complete wedge put
Yeah.
between us. It was all over social media. It was a big thing. I will never forgive them for what they did and how they treated myself and other volunteers that were out. And that's when we connected. You had similar experiences. Let's talk about what you went through and maybe a search and rescue organization. Maybe there's one out there. I'm actually in a chat with another one that's really good. I think they're kind of cool. I'll find their name too.
Okay.
But this conversation might just help one rescue that somebody loses a dog, that they rethink putting this wedge between adopter and rescue, because it's cruel. It's really cruel. And search and rescue doesn't have all of the answers. They don't know all of the things. And these situations, I mean, it's not that I lose dogs every day, so I haven't run into it again, but man, it was a tough go.
Well,
and I know
you're
you
lucky
went
to
through
get your
it.
dog back. I didn't get mine back.
Yeah, so let's talk about what happened with you, because I was horrible.
So Dana was a dog, and this was early on into my rescue career. It was probably like maybe 3 years. It was the first dog we ever had that ran away. She was a dog from Mexico, very traumatized, very shy, huge flight risk. The girl came from, oh gosh, I don't know, someplace 3 hours south of us. We explained to her, please take the dogs directly to your home. Do not stop anywhere. Leave her leash and her collar on her. She's a flight risk. Take her right home. Let her decompress. Put her in your crate. She didn't do that. Within probably 3 hours, she brought her to a warehouse. Immediately took the collar and leash off her. Someone opened the big door. Boom, Dana was gone. And that was literally 3 hours into the adoption. We got the call. We sent the foster out. The foster had known the dog for many months because she was a dog that was difficult socializing. I I got a call, and at this time I was so new and gullible and like all of the things. Someone called me and said, "Kelly, call this woman. Her name is Laura McGibbon. She'll help you." There was no
That's the search and rescue.
mention of the search and rescue team. There was no mention of who she was. I just assumed she was just this person in the local area who could get there quick and help us out to look for this dog. Come to find out that she was a search and rescue. She met up with the adopter at the time, and the adopter immediately surrendered the dog back to me. So I had the ownership of the dog. So we gave it a few days. The foster went down. The only person this dog knew and cared for was the foster. They refused to allow the foster to help search. They had her sitting in a car waiting for whatever. We were getting constant sightings of her. They failed at every avenue to go and get that dog. The dog sat eating a sub at Subway for 45 minutes. I reported the sighting to them. They refused to go to the location to get her. That's when I tried to pull the plug. And I said, I have my own search and rescue guy. He's going to go in and take over. That just sent them over the edge. They then did the same thing as you, approached the adopter, made it so that it was so difficult for us to communicate with her that she just would not even speak to us at that point. So I pulled out, well, I have a surrender form for her. The dog is now mine. You guys are off the case. Ken Price is coming in. He does, who's Ken Price? Ken does
Team search.
Team search.
In Hamilton.
Amazing guy. If anybody's looking for a search and rescue. Ken's going to go in with his dog. We're putting posters up. It was a living war with these people. I don't know if you know Maureen Haney.
Yeah,
H-A, the dot,
yeah.
whatever. She got in contact.
Is that your friend?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't think I
You
know.
looked at me. I'm like, I know you
No,
know a
I
search
don't.
and
She
rescue
used to
person.
run Canine Gone or something crazy.
I think she's the one that was
with you.
with mine. I think that's the one.
She's something special. She then got on the phone with me, literally called me everything in the book, told me that my surrender form was garbage and that they weren't going to be accepting it, that it was under duress and that it wasn't legal, and that the owner was still the adopter was still the owner, and that's where they're going to be taking orders from. So in the meantime, I had Ken Price going out and trying to search for the dog, and they just made his life a hell. It became a screaming, yelling, quartering in a Tim Hortons parking lot type of scene. So he was like, I'm out, because these bitches be crazy. I never got the dog back. So I don't know. And I post her every year. It's been 7 years now. I post her every year to say she's still not back. She's still gone. I don't know if they caught her and we never found out. I don't know if she's dead, if somebody picked her up. I have no communication with these people. After that episode, I started working with Ken. Ken started teaching me the rules of the way. I purchased my own equipment. I have live traps. I have cameras. I have skills. Generally, our dogs will run away within the first few hours of being adopted. So we've had a few very flighty dogs. I've trapped and caught every single one of them. I've not lost a dog since I asked the search and rescue teams to. We do have them obviously show up on scene.
Yep.
Which doesn't go over well.
And the public, like when there's a lost dog, the first thing the public does is to start tagging these search and rescue places, and then they start immediately reaching out and to adopters.
They know not to reach out to me anymore.
Yeah, they don't reach out to me either. But they're just like they
I don't know how they're on so many posts. Like you see them tagging like groups and like these people, and I'm like, how do you even have time to be on all these posts all the time? But I've had a few run-ins. We had a doodle that also ran away from an adopter within a couple of hours. I specifically told them we're on it. It was only 20 minutes from Barrie. We have a team out there. I'm out there. We have posters go up. I found one of the search teams putting up different posters with different phone numbers.
Yeah, I went through that with Booker.
And same thing. The adopter was like, don't want this dog anymore. Well, then the surrender form wasn't legal. So I actually added it into my contract that if a dog runs away and is gone for more than 6 hours, that the ownership will revert back to me so that we can do search and rescue. So, like I said, we've had 7 dogs run from adopters or fosters, whatever. And we've caught everyone but Dana, who had a search party. People who knew were supposed to know.
Yeah.
Except for Dana.
I had another adopter lose a small dog. And sorry, can you pick that up? Because there's a Mentos.
I know where it is, and I was going to wait until that
Yeah,
goes.
I did. And we don't have to edit this out because, hey, it's all about things. But
Was it triggering?
it is. It's just, I'm so
How
like,
did you even see it? It's just so little.
I know, but it's about cleanliness. And it was just like,
Nuts.
that Mentos is right there. And I ended up, again, an adopter, couple of days, dog ran out the front door. And they brought their own, it was a berry search and rescue.
Same
Like,
team. Yeah.
wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't have anything to do with me. I forgot about this dog. This was just a couple of years ago. They also were like, no drone. I posted, like, let's get some drones up. They were like, no, it's going to drive the dog into traffic. And it was a wooded area.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need heat. It's the only way you're going to find this 5-pound dog. And then I said, I'm going to do a reward. I can't remember, $1,000 reward. And they lost their mind. You can't do a reward. And I said, why the fuck not? Like, why not? And I'll tell you, within a day, once that reward went up, somebody found the dog, and the dog was returned, and they collected the reward, and the dog.
Do you think they already had the dog, or do you think that they found it somewhere?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but I can tell you it was a 5-pound dog that was lost for a week, a little long-haired Chihuahua.
Still nice and chunky.
Didn't lose.
Yeah.
It wasn't underweight, had a couple leaves stuck on them, but was in pretty good shape to be out on its own for a week. I don't know. But the search and rescue group was just like, they were a nightmare.
Oh, they're just like vultures on these adopters, where they just think. And I've had dogs run away that the adopters have got the dogs back, but they just seem to, for some reason, think that us rescues are going to take these dogs and not return them. Well, I can't trust a person when I tell them, hey, take the dog right home. Don't take the leash off. And 5 minutes out the door, they're taking the leash off, and the dog's taking off and isn't recovered.
Yeah.
I can't trust the adopter after that. They're not listening to instructions.
But I'll tell you, they'll listen now.
They'll listen now.
Once they lose a dog, it's going to go one way or the other. They'll never lose a dog again.
Yeah.
Or maybe they will.
And like I said, I've returned dogs that we have found.
I have too. I never did. I think I'm not returning that dog to the adopter. I just think I got to find this dog. I'm not sleeping until I find this dog.
Search and rescue team to be making that call. Like I've had them say, well, if we catch your dog, we're going to take them to animal control, and then animal control can decide who's the legal owner. Well, I'm telling you right now, if my microchip is reading back my name and I have a surrender form from an adopter, whether it's under duress or whatever, that dog's coming back to me.
Yeah.
Plain
Agreed.
and simple.
Agreed.
Animal control is not going to fight with a bunch of people. They're going to say, who has the microchip, who has the surrender form, and it's going to be me.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It's not up to the search and rescue group to decide who, the whatevers.
Yeah, just find the dog.
Yeah,
and
do your job.
Don't build walls between people. And
I was going to say, like, it's because they're pitting you against the adopter. Is that the main issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they, and I understand to a point where
everybody wants to do it their way.
Right. We need to deal with one person, and we're only dealing with the adopter. But the rescue holds a lot of value. So
what should they do though? If
they've got to work with both. They've got to work with both.
Okay.
And there isn't
a lot of the time is the rescues is the only person that the dog might come to.
Totally. because we are with that dog too, beyond just the adopter. And you can't just shut, because they want to shut the rescues out. They
want full control.
It's discard. And never is a dog lost and an adopter says, I don't want to work with the rescue. But as things build and it seems it's the search and rescue teams, then they become, oh, I'm just going to work with you. I don't want anything to do with the rescue. It's a wall that they build because they want to keep it in their own little weird
I feel like
circle.
It's like an ego thing. They're going to catch the dog and they're going to get the pat on the back and they're going to get. And I tell you, when I catch my dogs, I post it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
here's my dog. We caught her after 7 days when you said that we were going to kill her because we were chasing her around. We don't chase them around. I use a very small group of maybe 5 people to go out.
Yeah.
But I've caught every dog. Like, you're the one who lost the dog, not this kid.
Yeah.
So,
And I highly recommend all of my foster dogs wear tractive GPS trackers.
All of
I
ours
don't
have
send them
AirTags.
home with adopters, but I highly recommend to every adopter and to the general public and to everybody, if you're bringing a new dog home, invest in a tracker
They're
or
amazing.
something.
it's
like
in our
almost
requirements
invasive.
that adopters have to bring an AirTag for all of our adult dogs. We're actually moving on to a new company now that does actual collars that are tracked through a different system anyway. So we're going to
Is
provide
it
those to-
satellite or is it more like an air?
It's a data, but it works with like it's rather an AirTag only works for Apple. This one works with Androids,
Okay.
Apples. It doesn't necessarily need satellite service to work like an AirTag. So these ones, so all of our dogs get them when they come in. So we're
Let me know, pass that on.
yeah.
I spend a lot on our devices because,
Mhm.
you know, and they get beat up in foster homes.
shoot.
They're always lost. And, but I would never not send a dog. I mean, there's a couple like puppies and stuff that I
Yeah,
know
one or
aren't
two
leaving, but I would say 90% of our foster dogs wear them the entire time.
Yeah. If our dogs are going to like a rural area, we do tractives on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I had one
apparently
dog.
these collars were just way better. So
Let me know who
Yeah.
I'd be interested in that. One dog a couple weeks ago slipped out. The foster went to get an Amazon package. Ironically, an Amazon package that I sent her. She's like, you do hold some blame in this. And the dog just slipped through her legs, rural community up in Caledon, had the tracker on, but she didn't have it turned on. And I was like, oh, she said it was off when I charged it. And I was like, oh,
yeah, that's the issue with
Terrifying.
tractives is you have to continually.
This
charge
is true.
them.
Yeah.
These other collars you don't.
Okay.
interesting.
I'll let you know.
Because that's a big mistake, and you will, they'll be charging or turned off or, yeah.
I do want to, just before we move off of search and rescue, because I'm in a chat with her and I actually really like her. So Andrea from Canine Ground Search, I think she's like Kitchener maybe. She's been really awesome. I've never used her for a search, but
I've seen her posts. I mean,
she's very rescue friendly.
as long as they're realistic to know that, like, I just feel like a lot of the search and rescues have the same brainwave or something that they don't have to work with the rescues, and that it doesn't matter what you feel. It's all about the adopter, even though the adopters only had them for an hour and a half. Like it's important for the dog. I mean, and I see them now. If I comment on some of their stuff, like our dog's missing or whatever, you'll see this Maureen, lovely lady that she is, likes to trash me at every second that she gets to tell people how horrible of a rescue I am. Like, why are you trying to hurt me? Like that, like over a dog that you guys couldn't find and that I was trying to hold you accountable for? Like, because I won't use you now? Because I won't recommend you to people?
Oh, so even now?
I wouldn't use them if my life
No,
was
I
hanging
mean,
on.
she's doing.
Oh, yes.
okay.
Yes, she does it. She does it any chance. If anybody, I mean, I've even had her email sponsors, people that are sponsoring us, to say, do you know how horrible this girl is? And
Oh, that's pretty low.
and she doesn't know me from Adam at all.
Interesting.
Just because I told her to rub salt.
Well, you tell it like it is, Kelly.
I don't sugarcoat.
Shouldn't have to. One thing I wanted to touch on, we talked about it in episode 1, but yours is different, and I'm confused by it. So it's more a curiosity for me. But if I'm confused about it, and I talked about it with producer Dean too, and he was confused about it. So maybe the public is confused about it, and you can just clarify.
Confused about it.
Yeah. So you have a $50 home visit. Episode 1, we were talking about adoption applications. So there are rescues that charge money to apply for a dog.
For every application.
Every
that comes in.
application.
Yeah, no,
And it's weird. And if you are successful in adopting, it comes off of the adoption fee. If you're not successful in adopting, the rescue pockets it. It's weird. I get it. You're making money. So the logic, I understand the logic. I don't agree with the method. You have a $50 home visit fee.
Yeah.
If you're successful in adopting, it comes off your adoption fee. If you're not successful in adopting, you refund it to the person.
Yep.
It doesn't, the logic escapes me. So help me understand.
We were taking the time to screen the applications,
Right.
to make the phone calls,
Right.
to book the home visit.
Right.
And we would book the home visit. And I'm different than other rescues where I don't screen a lot of people for one dog. I do one at a
Same.
time.
Yeah. I do it.
So we could be holding that one dog for say 3 or 4 days until we get to the home visit. And then we'd get to the home visit day and then they'd say, oh, we changed our mind or we got a dog from someone else.
Right.
So we've spent all that time holding the dog
Right.
and doing our paperwork to get ready for the home visit, and they were backing out.
Right.
So we were like, okay, well, we need to make some sort of deposit so that they're continuing with their home visit if they have signed up for it.
But why do you refund it if they back out? You should keep it.
If they back out, we keep it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that makes more sense to me.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I don't.
No,
So you need to change your website because your website reads differently.
Does it? Okay. So some people will send it in when they send an application and thinking that that's the fee, that they're going to get a home visit. But the fee is if we call you and we set it up, then I send you the email that says, please pay the $50. I'm not that strict. Sometimes I don't even send it. Like, it just depends. If it's something really important comes up and they're like, hey, we just can't, I'll refund it. No problem. But if they've jerked me around for, 5-6 days and, rescheduled or done whatever, I keep it. If they go through the home visit, they pass, they go to get the dog, then we just apply it to their adoption fee.
Gotcha. All right. You need to reword it because I'm like, the
I
logic escapes me. Why would you give them the money back?
Just yesterday, I talked to the girl who does those posts. I'm like, no, you need to reword this because it sounds confusing. So that's what she was doing just yesterday, was trying to word it so that it sounds right. Because people were sending it in thinking, oh, I have to send it in.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, you didn't call me. I'm like, well, you weren't selected. I don't. It's hard to identify a $50 donation as opposed to a home visit fee or whatever. And some people get angry. So I was like, yeah, we need to reword it. So it's being reworded.
Do you find that, like, I find there's a lot of tire kickers now. Like the back end of 2025 and even like the last couple of months, like people will apply and then, like, I just had it happen today and they were invited to a telephone interview and, we've played some phone tag and today they were like, my wife is worried the dog's going to be over 100 pounds. Like, it's egg. She's never going to even reach 50 pounds.
It's excuses.
It is. Like, they've just moved on or a lot of times I hear, I already brought a dog home. Like, you applied 4 days ago. How do you have a dog already?
Yeah.
Like, what rescue do you think is ethical that you applied and you got a dog in like
I get that
3 or 4 days?
That's why we did the home visit fee.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the main reason, because we were contacting people and then they'd be like, oh, we just got a dog yesterday. Or like I just had a lady reach out to a lady just last week and we had it all set up. She paid the fee and then she emailed me to say, oh, well, the rescue that I was working with before called me and the dog that I wanted is available now. So I'm, thank you very much. Keep the fee, blah, blah, blah. Then she emailed me back like 2 days ago saying, well, I didn't get that dog. And I was like, well, sorry about you.
You're not getting this dog either.
A lot of them, and they come up with the oddest reasons. Like, lack of communication. One girl was there was lack of communication and speedy return on my email, and I was like, "You emailed me at 5:30. It's 6:30,
Yeah.
and I emailed you at 10:30 this morning." Like,
Yeah.
and then you emailed me at, like,
Yeah.
it's all just excuses for some reason. A lot of people like saying, "Oh, I know I applied for Spot, but can I see, Brownie and Bluey and Blackie and see which one's best?" Like,
You want to get your eye on the prize.
yeah, pick
You know?
like, or pick two. Like, go to a meet and greet and meet them all.
Yeah.
But like, why are you applying before you know confidently who you want?
What does your ideal adopter look like? Because we all have an ideal adopter. What does that look like for you?
Depends on the dog. I mean, obviously, every dog needs something. An active younger family. One that hikes or bikes or is active and takes the dog out and socializes them and has a fenced yard with a couple of kids running around. I truly believe that dogs need to be with kids and kids need to be with dogs. Maybe another dog as a friend.
What about you?
I think it depends on the dog. Every dog for me would have a very different,
I think it's easier for Kelly because she brings a lot of
yeah,
the same
I've
dogs.
got a lot of different kinds of dogs that come through. So it really would depend on what that dog needs. And that's what I would want for that dog. So yeah. I mean, northern dogs you can put almost anywhere. I mean, honestly, a lot of them.
Except with cats.
Except not with cats.
Yeah.
Well, you with kids and things like, you don't have to worry. I mean, when we'd bring in the ones from Attawapiskat, I could put them anywhere. So
Yeah, there's some great dogs.
yeah.
Any final words? We're at 2 hours.
Mm,
It went quick, didn't it?
did.
Anything else you want anyone to know about you, about Lost Boys Hope, about rescue? Anything, any messaging?
I just think that if I could say anything to other rescues, from my personal experience, my personal struggles with getting sort of in, I really think that we all need to start helping each other. I think we'll make the greatest impact together as a giant team than segregated into little pods of who likes who and who likes that. I don't think personal opinions of anybody should come into play when it comes into animal advocacy. I think we all need to kind of take a step back and reevaluate that maybe what you do is different than what I do, and what you do is different than what I do. We could all learn from each other. And I think rather than preaching to each other about what they're doing wrong and what they're doing, I think that there's just a better way of all of us to deal with each other to make it the biggest impact we can make.
So 2 things on that. One, so there's far more unethical rescues right now in Ontario, probably across Canada, but I don't know all the Canadian rescues. I know a lot of Ontario rescues.
Mm-hmm.
There are more operating unethically than there are ethically. So if we need to kumbaya, what do we do with those rescues that we watch bring in parvo puppies and out at pet stores and cutting corners and not doing spays and neuters?
Mm-hmm.
How do you bring them into the fold to do as you just said? And then I'll talk about.
I think a lot of and I mean, I get people reaching out to me often saying, I'm thinking of starting a rescue. Can I shadow you? I think mentoring is a huge thing. I think those people have to be open to mentoring and not thinking that they know everything straight off. I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of people don't like me because I came in hot. I'm like, I'm going to be the superhero. I mean, I turned out to be. No, just kidding. I came in thinking that I knew everything, and that's because I'd been in rescue just mildly for a couple of years, and I had my eyes open to a few things. But I think mentoring, helping these new people that are coming in out. I wasn't educated in parvo, distemper. I think they all need to have a good education course. I don't think this association that's coming up is the best thing for rescues in general. But I think that the new rescues coming in, the new people coming in, need people like us that have been here years and years and years to bounce ideas off. But they also need to listen and be receptive to what we have to say.
So You won't be joining the association?
No,
Mhm.
I told Lorraine once upon a time that she could take her Bible and shove it, because there's a lot of ethical rescues that I know that aren't part of that aren't part of her Bible book that she has of, they told me I wouldn't be allowed in it anyways. That's okay. Um, so yeah, no, I won't be a part. I don't think that rescues should be, regulating other rescues. I think if it's a great idea, do I
Yeah.
think that we need something like that? Absolutely. I think it needs to be a board of maybe veterinarians, animal people,
Amen.
of people that don't have a foot in the fire for rescue.
Yeah, because my so this is their statement.
Did you get an official statement?
Yeah, they've got quite a few official statements
I
out
never got
there.
anything.
Rescue work is often isolating. I should have my glasses on. Each of us does the best we can day after day, carrying the emotional, financial, and logistical weight of saving dogs in a system that too often depends on rescue while offering little structure or support in return. This specific rescue, who is one of the founding members, I believe, says we joined because we believe dogs deserve more than good intentions. They deserve consistent standards, transparency, and accountability no matter which rescue helps them. This is the paragraph that is just always changing. As a member rescue, we have formally committed to upholding a clear code of ethics that governs conduct, medical care, financial transparency, and adoption practices.
Who's
So
going to govern?
How is that going to happen?
this is one of their
How
official
and who?
Who's going to do
statements.
that? And what's going to be the punishment?
What is the punishment?
And
Yeah.
their code of ethics states that they will do investigations on rescues that don't uphold their policies.
On who's
So
But then you fall into who doesn't like who. Like
Right.
I can tell
Exactly.
you that
Right.
probably 90% of those people on that would say that I'm not ethical.
well, and they'll say I'm not ethical too.
Yeah.
You know,
So
and
who?
but this is why rescues
Through gossip.
can't govern rescues.
Exactly.
They are for rescues that are founding members, I
I
think.
think it's 4. Yeah. I think so.
And as I've repeated on every podcast, and I'm not going to give them any more airtime, but you brought it up. So, I mean, I have to say it, and I have to get this message out to the public. Good for this association. They're a girls' club. They're a mean girls' club, in my opinion.
They are.
But good for them for putting this together. But rescues cannot mandate rescues. There are too many politics. There are too many opinions. And how dare you tell me, or you tell me, or I tell you, you're not ethical? Like, there's zero logic in that unless you are really doing shitty stuff, which some rescues are clearly doing.
Yeah. Now, who's going to fact check whether these ethical, like, I mean, even, I don't know if you know about the Bible. Do you know about the
The
Bible?
rescue, yeah, the
rescue Bible.
name,
So,
you're
a
only
few
ethical.
years back, there was the posts about someone was looking for an ethical rescue, and this group of lovely people, posted, please check out this,
The rescue Bible.
and sent the list. And I was, wow, I didn't even know that this existed. I flipped through and I was like, well, I guess I'm out, like, so I asked a simple question, same as you asked a question. Who puts the people in this book? How do you,
Right.
are these your friends?
Yeah.
Because it seemed to me like they were just friends, basically. And what makes you ethical and what makes you not ethical? I mean, there's the obvious, but aside from all that, what would make me not ethical?
But they don't have the answer to
That's
that.
it. They don't
But
have
how
an
has
answer.
that
So
been
just like you
decided?
have a list
It's a
of
principle.
ethical rescues, so it's just this membership, this club is just an extension of
Their
that
friendship.
rescue list.
Yes.
These are my friends and those that respect me.
And
so
that.
you can make the list, and if you're not on the list, you're not ethical. And what I've said multiple times is that, one, there are rescues in this club that are not ethical, and they are not
There's
doing.
people in that club that aren't even rescues.
This is true.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. They've recently brought in at arm's length people. So somebody that runs a food bank for rescues, that's not at arm's length. You're in the community. Lori, love her, Critter Cabs, but she's not at arm's length. She transports for all of the rescues. She has friends and she has foes. Larissa now is no longer in rescue and has a pet store, but she's been in rescue for decades. So she already has formed opinions. So they brought in at arm's length people because we were saying, wait a minute, rescues can't govern rescues. So they went, okay, we'll bring at arm's length people, but they just brought their friends in. But we'll follow what they say.
People that they already had acquaintances with.
So the moral of the story is, to the rescues that choose not to be part of this membership, you're going to be okay. You're fine. You don't have to be part of this club
I'm cool.
because it's fine.
I've never
fine.
been in her Bible, and I never will be in her Bible.
Yeah, and to the general
I'm
public,
way better than a lot of people out there
by far. And the general public can't be led to believe that if you're not on this list or in the club,
was they were making it sound like it was the Bible to rescue,
right?
Ethic rescue, and if you wanted one, then you need to look at that book,
right? And that's where I get frustrated, because they've put this divide in, and they're saying to the public, if you don't adopt from our club members, you're not adopting from an ethical rescue. And I can tell you, I'm more ethical than many on that list. You are, I'm sure. So the logic is flawed. They need separate entities altogether. Rescues can't govern or mandate what rescues can do, should do, and they can't investigate rescues. It's poppycock. The whole thing is poppycock.
Yeah.
And
but some
I'm
people
over
of
it.
the public will believe that because
But they will.
because they have that fancy logo thing.
Yeah.
And they'll think that's very, very official.
I don't.
I'm going to have a logo. We can have a logo that says, like, not part of the club.
We made one.
Yes,
we made one. I'll show you.
Oh, send it to me. We put it on our website.
I'll send it.
We are not joining the club, and we are ethical. But it's just, it's crazy town. They are crazy, and what they're trying to accomplish is beyond what their intentions were, I think.
The idea is good, but not.
The idea is great, because rescues need regulation, but it needs to come from the government, and there needs to be more accountability, but not in this way. This is a joke.
I agree.
Thanks for being here. I'm so fucking happy that you came, and I appreciate you.
You said,
and
come on, anytime.
Yeah, and I hope that we talk more. We always just kind of talk, and we're like passing.
Yeah, ships in the night.
Yeah, but I'm always here to help, and I know you're always there if I need something, and I appreciate you.
Just here to help.
And I'm glad that you tagged along and joined us again.
Sorry I talk so much.
No, it's okay.
It's great.
It's good.
All right, kids, that is a wrap.